So imagine this. You're holding a phone that costs just around 200 euros, but somehow it packs a massive battery, a super bright OLED display, and a design that actually feels premium in the hand. Sounds like one of those too good to be true situations, right? Well, this is the Huawei Enjoy 90 Pro Max, and honestly, this thing is trying really hard to redefine what budget phones can do in 2026. And today, we're diving deep into whether this is actually a hidden gem or just another spec-heavy phone that doesn't live up to the hype. Before we go any further, if you enjoy these kinds of real, no-nonsense tech reviews, make sure you hit that subscribe button and drop a like. It genuinely helps the channel grow and lets me bring you more content like this. Now, starting with the design, this phone immediately surprises you. It's got a glass front, an aluminum back, and a plastic frame, which is kind of a hybrid approach, but in hand, it feels way more premium than you'd expect at this price. It's slightly on the heavier side at 232 grams, but that actually makes sense once you realize what's inside. And the thickness is just 8 millimeters, which is honestly impressive considering the battery size we'll talk about in a second. Plus, you're getting IP65 resistance, so it's protected against dust and light water splashes, something that's still not very common in this price range. Then there's the display, and this is where things get really interesting. You're looking at a 6.84-inch OLED panel with a 120Hz refresh rate, and not just that, it can hit a peak brightness of 4000 nits. That is insanely bright, like flagship-level bright. Whether you're outdoors in direct sunlight or just scrolling through social media, visibility is not going to be an issue at all. Colors look vibrant, blacks are deep as you'd expect from OLED, and the overall viewing experience feels smooth and responsive. Watching videos, gaming, or just browsing feels genuinely enjoyable here. Performance-wise, this phone is powered by the Kirin 8000 chipset, paired with 8 GB of RAM across all variants. Now, this isn't a flagship processor, but it's definitely capable. Day-to-day tasks like app switching, scrolling, messaging, and even some moderate gaming feel smooth enough. You're not going to be maxing out heavy games at ultra settings, but for the average user, this is more than enough power. And with storage options going up to 512 GB, you've got plenty of space for apps, photos, and videos. Now here's where the real headline feature comes in, the battery. This phone packs an absolutely massive 8,500 mAh battery. That is not normal. That's way beyond what most phones offer, even in higher price segments. This means you're easily getting 2 days of usage, maybe even more depending on how you use your phone. Heavy users, gamers, content watchers, this is the kind of phone that just keeps going. And even when you do need to charge it, you've got 40W wired charging, which is decent considering the battery size, plus 5W reverse charging so you can top up other devices in a pinch. And honestly, this kind of battery changes how you use your phone. You stop worrying about charging. You stop carrying power banks. It just works, and that's something a lot of people will really appreciate. Now let's talk cameras. On paper, it looks simple: a single 50MP main sensor. No ultra-wide, no macro, nothing extra. And yeah, that might sound like a downside, but Huawei tends to focus on optimizing what they have. In good lighting, you can expect sharp, detailed shots with decent dynamic range. It's not going to compete with flagship camera systems, but for everyday photography, social media, and casual use, it should get the job done. Video recording goes up to 4K at 30 frames per second, and you've got gyro stabilization helping smooth things out. Selfie camera is an 8MP shooter, which is pretty standard. It's fine for video calls and occasional selfies, nothing groundbreaking, but it works. Quick pause here if you're still watching. You're clearly into this kind of deep dive content. So go ahead and like the video and subscribe. It really helps more than you think and keeps these reviews coming. On the software side, the phone runs Harmony OS 6.0. Now, depending on where you live, this could be a big factor. Huawei's ecosystem is smooth and well optimized, but it does come with its own limitations, especially when it comes to app availability and Google services. So that's something you definitely need to consider before buying. If you're already familiar with Huawei devices, you'll feel right at home. If not, there might be a bit of an adjustment period. Connectivity is fully modern here with support for 5G, Wi-Fi 6, and even Wi-Fi 7, Bluetooth 6.0, NFC, and even an infrared blaster, which is a nice bonus for controlling things like TVs and AC units. You've also got a side-mounted fingerprint scanner, which is fast and reliable, and honestly still one of the most practical placements. Audio is handled by stereo speakers, which is great to see. No headphone jack though, which might disappoint some users, but that's becoming the norm now. So when you step back and look at the full picture, this phone is kind of wild. You've got a flagship-level display brightness, a ridiculously large battery, solid performance, and a premium-ish design, all at a price point that's aggressively competitive. But of course, it's not perfect. The camera system is basic, there's no expandable storage, and the software situation might be a deal-breaker for some people. So it really comes down to what you value most. If battery life and display quality are at the top of your list, this phone is honestly hard to beat. But if you rely heavily on Google services or want a more versatile camera setup, you might want to look at other options. At the end of the day, the Huawei Enjoy 90 Pro Max feels like a phone that knows exactly what it wants to be. It's not trying to do everything. It's focusing on a few key areas and doing them really well. And in a market full of similar-looking devices, that actually makes it stand out. So yeah, this could easily be one of the most interesting budget phones of 2026 if it delivers on its promises in real-world usage. If you enjoyed this review and want more honest tech content like this, make sure you subscribe to the channel and hit that like button, and I'll see you in the next one.